Hello, welcome to... Today we are talking about a very weird old card. A card that is very special to me as she was one of the first commander decks I ever made. Merieke Berit. And you can actually see my EDH deck tech on her right here. And while you're clicking on that, you might as well like, sub, comment, and ring YouTube's bell. So, Merieke Berit is a 1/1 for esper colors, white, blue, black, and she doesn't untap during your untap phase. But you can tap her to gain control of target creature for as long as you control Merieke, and when Merieke leaves a battlefield or becomes untapped, you destroy that creature. It can't be regenerated. So while this is a strong ability, nothing about it seems inherently broken. To really exploit this ability, we need to have specific support cards that fall into 4 categories: untapping, blinking, exchanging, and indestructibility. So let's go to the battlefield to explain the 4 ways you can lose your friends with Merieke. So here's our battlefield, our opponent's battlefield, and the stack. First, let's just visually explain Merieke's ability. When you tap Merieke targeting a creature, her ability goes onto the stack. When it resolves, you gain control of that creature. But both parts of her ability resolve together, creating a delayed trigger, which resolves differently depending on 3 outcomes. 1. If Merieke becomes untapped, the creature is destroyed. 2. If Merieke is taken control of by another player, that creature returns to the original player you took it from, unharmed. And last, if Merieke leaves a battlefield, the creature returns to the original player you took it from, and is then subsequently destroyed. So if they have something that cares about a creature dying, they get that effect. The point of all this is that the second part of Merieke's ability is in effect from the point you get the creature. If Merieke is turned into another creature and untaps, that destroy effect still happens because it resolved as a delayed trigger when you first activated Merieke. But knowing all this, there still is a way to steal multiple creatures with Merieke if you have instant speed untap effects. There are plenty of instants, creatures, artifacts, and enchantments that can do this. The gist of it is, you tap Merieke targeting a creature. That goes on the stack, and in response to that effect, you untap Merieke via one of the many ways. The untap ability goes on the stack. When it resolves, Merieke untaps, and you don't destroy any creature, because that ability has not yet resolved. Now, in response to the first Merieke effect, you can tap Merieke again, targeting another creature. Now, if you have a repeatable untap effect, like Penman's Aura or Freed from the Real, you can tap and untap Merieke as much as you want if you have the mana to do so. You can even leave her untapped at the end to steal something else later. When you're done with all the creatures you want to steal, you just let the Merieke triggers resolve, and you gain control of all the creatures you targeted. Since Merieke is not untapped since you've gained control of all of the creatures, they don't get destroyed. However, if you untap Merieke now, all of the creatures you have taken will be destroyed at the same time. Okay, trick 2. Blinking and flickering. One way to permanently keep a creature you steal with Merieke is to blink that creature. Blinking or flickering is when you exile a creature from the battlefield and return it to the battlefield either immediately or at the end of turn. Lots of cards do this, but there are specific ones that work with Merieke, so you can keep the creature. You want blink cards that can exile the stolen creature and then return it to the battlefield under your control. Cards like Deadeye Navigator, Nephalia Smuggler, Ghostly Flicker, and Conjurer's Closet. The reason for this is because most blink cards return the creature to its owner's control, and you do not own this card, you just control it. The cool part about this is that when the creature is blinked, it enters the battlefield as a new creature, a creature not linked to Merieke's initial ability that stole it. Thus, you can untap Merieke and the stolen creature won't be destroyed. Okay, third trick is exchanging. So, say you stole a creature with Merieke, but another opponent plays something else you want. Well, one way to be a political genius is to play a card that exchanges a creature you control with a creature or other permanent your opponent controls, like Puka's Mischief, Daring Thief, or Leisured Mane. So you exchange the creature you stole from opponent 1 with whatever you want from opponent 2. That seems okay, but the trick here is that the creature you stole is still linked to Merieke's ability. So, if Merieke untaps, that creature you just gave opponent 2 is destroyed, and you get that other card you stole for free. This can be used to bribe opponents, such as stealing a really strong creature, give it to another opponent, and then if they do something you don't like, you can destroy that creature. Or you can even give it back to the original opponent and it will still be linked to Merieke. Finally, let's talk about Indestructibility. So, because Merieke's ability says that when she untaps you destroy the creature and not sacrifice it, then if you steal a creature with Indestructible, Merieke can untap and that creature will not be destroyed. You can keep it, but now if you lose control of Merieke, that indestructible creature goes back to the player you stole it from. The same is true if you give a creature temporary indestructible, like Darksteel Plate, and untap Merieke, the creature won't be destroyed. Now, if you tap Merieke and steal another creature, and then move the Darksteel Plate to that creature to give it indestructible, and then untap Merieke again, neither creature will be destroyed. The reason for this is because the delayed destroy trigger for the first creature has already happened, and at the time the creature was indestructible. So now it doesn't care when Merieke untaps because she's already untapped and resolved that delayed trigger. The one thing to consider with this is if your opponent has an effect that makes a creature they control indestructible, like Eldrazi Monument, and then you steal one of their creatures, and then Merieke leaves the battlefield, the creature will return to its owner and not get destroyed, because it regains indestructible when it returns to your opponent. This is something that is super specific but could happen, so now you know. And those are some combos with Merieke. Do you want to make a Merieke deck now? Do you know any other weird old cards with complex rules? Let me know down below. And the next time when you need to fill your combo needs, I'll be right here on the internet.